So he brings in Machlokes. He brings down the most poskim hold that someone in a hotel room, it's like renting a house, and therefore, if he moves into his hotel room, he gets the key if he gets the room, before the night of the 14th, he checks for chometz. If he doesn't, then the owner of the hotel should be the one checking for chometz. We'll see in a minute what happens if it hasn't been checked. And a hospital bed, though, he says the hospital bed, you're not renting the bed. He says that you're not renting the room. People can walk in when the nurses, doctors walk in and out whenever they want. They can move you to a different room if they decide to. So he says that there you're not renting your room, so you probably haven't got any chiyuv b'dika. It's a good idea to check the area around your bed, but he says that you probably haven't got a chiyuv b'dika. Brings that from Rabbi Zilberstein, Toras HaYeleda. Okay, let's see Nasif base. So on page 17. Page 17, Simon Tov Lamed Zayin Sif base. Hasoicha bais mechaveru b'yodalid. Ve'in yodein hu bodu. Someone who rents a house if we rent a house on the 14th. So it's on the 14th. The masker, the person who rented out the house, should have checked for chometz. Now the person who's renting it doesn't know if it's been checked or not. If he's in town, or nowadays by phone, you can ask him if he's checked it or not. If he's not in town, or nowadays he's not available, no way of contacting him, then there's a chazoko. You can assume that it's been checked. Right? Someone who rents a house on the 14th, you can assume the house has been checked. And without all he has to do is bittul chometz. He doesn't have to check. He doesn't have to search for the chometz. Okay. Let's continue the Mechaber Sif Gimel. Hamaske bayis, now on the top line of page 18. Hamaske bayis chaveru bechezkas bodu. Someone rented that house, right, on bechezkas bodu, with the assumption that it's been checked. V'nim she'einu bodu. The person, when he rented out the house, he assumed the house had been checked, or he was told it had been checked. Even if the person renting out the house said to him clearly, he's checked the house, and then he discovered that it hasn't been checked. He moved in and he discovered there's crumbs everywhere. The house hasn't been checked. The person who's renting the house has to check for chometz. It's not an invalid sale. The sale, it's not a sale. It's the rental. The rental is not invalid. Even in a place where people pay money for people to check the house for chometz. So why is this? Why is it that it's not an invalid rental? Because it's a mitzvah. Everyone's happy to do a mitzvah. Everyone's happy to check for chometz and do a mitzvah. Right? The Ramah says though that he has to pay him, that he has to return to him in a place where they pay people to check for chometz. Then he has to pay. The person renting out the house, the masker. How do you say masker in English? The person,
landlord.
The landlord. The landlord has to give him money to pay for the house to be checked. In a place where people pay for cleaners to clean the house. He has to give him money because he rented out the house on the assumption, or he had been told clearly they'd been checked. The landlord has to pay him, has to give him money to pay for the cleaners. Because he told him clearly that the house had been checked. Okay, so it's not an invalid sale. In a place where people pay for cleaners to clean the house, the landlord should pay for the cost of the cleaning. That's the opinion of the Ramah. The Mishabura, though, the Mishabura says that if you look in the Mishabura, it's cotton and Tes Vov, the seventh wide line of the wide lines. He says, "Eledina posku hachonim G'day Kamaisa. The Bechol Gavni Ein Zoch the Shalom Lo Yochol Omar Kimli G'day Zuv Amos Mechavel Avarai. The Mishnah Berurah paskins that he doesn't have to pay for the costs. The Mishnah Berurah says because there's a machlokas here between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah. According to the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't have to pay for the costs of the checking, and according to the Ramah, he has to pay for the cost of the checking, and therefore, the Mishnah Berurah says that he can't demand the money. We have a cloud with money. In order to prove, get money from someone, one has to have proof, a raya. One has to have a proof. So to here, the same way as when I have to prove it belongs to me in order for him to pay me the money, so to here where we have a machlokes lahalocha if he has to pay or not, in order for me to force him to pay me the money, I have to prove that the halacha is like the Ramah. And I can't prove that, right? The machlokes halacha is like the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah. I can't prove the halacha is like the Ramah, and therefore he says that he doesn't have to pay, right? So he wouldn't have to pay. It's not an invalid rental. The assumption, the logic being that a person is happy to do the mitzvah. A person's happy to do the mitzvah of b'dikas chometz.
Should give that opportunity to the landlord. Should give that opportunity back to the landlord.
He should give that opportunity back to the landlord.
Because he wants to fulfill the mitzvah of cleaning for chometz.
Right, but he's not going to give it back to the landlord. He's happy to do it. And I think possibly the reason why you're responding this way is because people go over the top nowadays with cleaning for chometz, right, and turn it into spring cleaning, which is very nice, but it does also mean that people now have a kind of a negative view on searching for chometz because it's become so difficult. Right? But if one does just what one needs to do, it's not such a difficult thing to do. To search for chometz, right? Well, if we're not cleaning the windows, and
I should stop the video right now. I'll stop the video at this point. Relieve a lot of stress around the world.
if one just checks for chometz as one's supposed to do, it's not such a difficult thing to do, and it's a mitzvah. One has to look at it in a positive light. One's doing a mitzvah searching for chometz. And we see in this halacha, right? That it's a halacha comes from this idea that people enjoy checking the chometz. Right? This is a halacha based on the matis, based on what Chazal saw was happening. Chazal saw that it's an enjoyable mitzvah. People enjoy checking for chometz. Right? It's something which they paskin the halacha based on this. It's not an invalid sale.
But with all due respect, the agreement that was understood was that the landlord would supply the service of doing it, right? And now the issue is he's failed to supply that service, right? And the landlord, or somehow the Mishnah Berurah is saying, well, it wasn't a service, it was an opportunity that the landlord missed himself to clean for. He was never planning to clean for it. He was hiring people to clean for it, right? And he's turning to the renter and saying, well, now you have this mitzvah, this opportunity to do it, and you have like 4 hours left to do it. It seems to me that it is stressing the point of the joy of cleaning for Pesach, right? May very well exist, but in a timely fashion, not on the morning of the 15th, you know, right? or at this point, there's very little time left for him at this point.
So he'll hire people to do it. He's happy. Again, the Gemara says, even if it costs him money, he's happy to spend his money on doing a mitzvah.
Okay.
He's happy to spend his money. So if he were to rent an apartment from someone, and they agreed it was a 2-room apartment, and then this is discovered it was a 4-room apartment, right? The renter would not ask for his money back because he's not getting what was in the rental agreement.
The problem with that metaphor, there is a problem with that metaphor. You know what it is, right? The problem with that metaphor is that he had already agreed to supply this service.
Again, we're not. Again, because we're looking at it as a.
But the renter should have said, "No, I don't want you to clean. Please don't clean for chometz for Pesach. This is something I want to do. Please don't do it." Right. They didn't argue over it at the time of the rental. Correct. Now they're arguing over something that was not done. Right. So there is a question for me in this process. Yeah.
I wonder if nowadays the halacha would change.
I don't know.
What do you think? Nowadays, people don't enjoy checking for chametz. They don't enjoy searching for chametz.
I enjoy it. I don't make a big deal out of it.
You enjoy it.
You haven't asked your wife.
My wife works and I did the work. That's our agreement.
I think this is the problem is that people overdo it nowadays. It's because people overdo it and turn it into a whole spring cleaning. It becomes.
Everyone sells their house, so you don't have to clean it.
Right.
So because of the chumras, of all the chumras, if it became too hard, and everyone does that, because the chumra is gone. Sell your house, rent out your house, and that's it.
I think if one does just what one needs to do, right? One walks around the rooms. He's looking for chametz bigger than a kazayis. If it's less than a kazayis and it's not dirty, then we're also machma for that. But less than a kazayis, which is on the floor, all dirty, is not something one has to remove.
Absolutely.
Right? So if one's just looking for
it's not edible for the dog. I mean, as I say, it can be excluded because it's not edible.
So we're
everything again.
We're looking for big pieces of chametz, right? Big pieces of chametz, right? Or small pieces in areas where they haven't got dirty. In cupboards, you're looking for even smaller pieces because they might not be dirty, unless it's been sitting there for a few days, in which case again they're stale. So we're not searching for the tiny crumbs in between the cracks.
You spray it up and with the covers, and spray it up with the strong things. Anyway, you don't care about
exactly.
It's killed anyway. Exactly.
If you spray it up, then you're done anyway. You take a nice spray which passes it. You just give a spray in all these places, and then you're also done. That's another way of doing it. Right? One could do it. It's maybe we should do. I think
your wife is going to play this video back to you sometime in the next 10 days.
I've told her this a few times.
But now she'll have it forever. It's an archive.
I think it's very important that we maybe we've taken it a bit too far, which is a wonderful thing that we check for chametz, but we do have to try and take the message from it to try and enjoy doing the mitzvah. Right?
Okay.
Try and doing the mitzvah. And,
good trip. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Maybe we should stop here.
Okay. I think we stop here.
Okay. This is very good. It'll bring a lot of peace to people's homes.